Ow!
Greetings, YouTube. This is Dad Crash, better known as Brandon, with the latest book review, where I share shameless plugs about my books and maybe give shameless plugs about the books that I've read, all the while giving my thoughts, so maybe you can share the love forward. As always, whether it's my books or the book I'm highlighting, if you read it, please provide a review of your own wherever you think it counts, be it Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, etc. After all, we all want feedback, and of course, spread the love by spreading your love of the book because us writers want readers. All links to all books discussed today, as well as my Twitter and DeviantArt links to my main account and my Wildspace Saga account, will be down in the doobly-doo for lovers of sci-fi fantasy goodness and epic space tales. And of course, if listening to my dulcet tones isn't quite your thing, you can always check out this review and more at my WordPress book review page, link once again in the doobly-doo. On a side note, I apologize in advance for the background hum while I'm recording. I'm working on getting a microphone that will be more suitable for this endeavor, so please bear with me. And now, with that out of the way, let me give you my shameless plug for the day, which is my book, From Slate to Crimson, the prelude to my War of Millennium Night series of vampire romances, and a backdrop of a war between vampire clans, both good and evil. For 10,000 years, the ancient vampire Talanti has governed his clan like a father in the endless war with their hated enemy over the fate of humankind. One winter's night, he chances to meet Amelia Grayson, a human whose blood arouses his desire and whose presence arouses his compassion in a way no mortal ever has before. Distracted and terrified by all but alien emotions and instincts by this burgeoning bond in a prelude to what may be his clan's most desperate hour, Talanti is caught between duty and desire until he is forced by choice and circumstance to decide whether to hold to the one he has grown to love more than his immortal life, or, in spite of a cost, let go for the sake of his people and Amelia's safety, in spite of twofold danger, one from a ravenous enemy that has hunted his kind for millennia, and the other for the seductive bond that would make her forever his, body and soul. And of course, if this tickles your pickle, you can pick it up in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon. As said before, the link will be down in the doobly-doo. Now, to the main course. So, I'm back here in record time to review the next book in Lori Eiling's World of the Timeless, as I promised before. I didn't think I'd get sucked into it so quickly, but of course that's hardly a bad thing. Her world weaves a curious mythos between the celestial and infernal powers that be, and the human souls who must eventually interact with them, for good or ill, in spellbinding tales that have kept me wanting to come back for more. And while Death's Widow certainly captivated me, I didn't think that Darkest Deeds would pull me in just as quickly. A somewhat shorter read than her prior work, Darkest Deeds, is above all things a massive tonal shift from Amara's romance with death. Rather, Eiling goes dark with this one, and I do mean dark. This is absolutely not a book for the faint of heart or the easily offended, as themes of wanton, brutal murder, rape, and even deeds best left unsaid are touched on. But there is more Lucifer. A lot more Lucifer. Yes, Eiling certainly knew which of her cast would generate the most intrigue, not to mention fandom, as the charming and commanding devil incarnate from Death's Widow shares center stage in this tale of dirty deeds done for free. A serial killer named Ariana, who does her gruesome business discreetly and methodically, all for a singular purpose, is denied her final kill, resulting in her own death. But once Callan, Death himself, rather dramatically frees her from her vegetative mortal coil, Ariana finds herself the center of two attractions. One towards Lucifer, with whom she is destined to become part of Hell's royalty, providing her with both pleasures beyond her wildest dreams and every opportunity to sate her murderous desires upon the damned souls of evildoers, and the other towards the kind, unfailingly honest Jeremiah, with whom she feels the powerful attraction of an eternal bond. Seemingly trapped in a situation both unprecedented and unheard of in all of eternity, Ariana is torn between these two fates, one an affront to Lucifer's possessive nature, and the other an offense to the good and selfless angel of hope. As I stated before, with the denizens of hell taking center stage, the tale bound within Darkest Deeds is a major tonal shift, as Eiling again pulls no punches from describing Ariana's horrifying acts upon her victims to the surrealistic sets of psychological terrors conjured by her deepest fears that Lucifer brings to the surface after a moment of admirable but ultimately foolish moxie that she displays towards the Prince of Darkness as a new arrival in hell. This also serves as a springboard for the relationship between the two, building a complex character in Ariana, who at first starts out seemingly simple, a serial killer with a chip on her shoulder, taken out in the prime of her life. Headstrong, passionate, and with a twisted sense of justice, the story's twists and turns turn out layers of complexity to her in ways that both enlighten and horrify. Lucifer, meanwhile, commands unfailing obedience, and he treats his loyal underlings lavishly. The author extinguishes any notions of toxicity or abusive narcissism on Lucifer's part in his relationships, however, through world building of hell, particularly the demonic pecking order and Lucifer's very hands-on and very draconian managerial style, squashing any dissension with extreme prejudice, a methodology that was born of necessity after the chaos that broke out in the events of Death's Widow. After Ariana's one act of defiance, the futility of opposing the devil on his own turf is made crystal clear both to her and the reader, and Lucifer's rare tender side is displayed. And this leads to a protracted era of palpable sexual tension between the two as she learns the ins and outs of her new existence and its many and sundry perks, doing what she does best and culminating in a consumption of that tension in an extremely well-written moment that embodies all the knowledge and understanding of the power she wields and the lust she can bring forth, the Lord of Hell. Ever wonder what it was like for your brain to feel the need to smoke a cigarette? Yeah, it's like that. And then Eiling brings in another delightful character to this tale, Alistair, another prince of hell and Lucifer's de facto wingman, who takes Ariana under his wing. Heavy drinking, charismatic, and jovial, he and Ariana form a wonderful big brother, little sister relationship as he shows her the ropes, and in a moment of brutal truthfulness, our protagonist opens her heart to him, revealing secrets she has never told anyone else. In one of the most raw, disturbing, emotional, and eye-opening moments in the book. Through their relationship and her horrifying flashback, the reason behind her killer nature is revealed, and it all makes perfect sense in a twisted way. All of this connects to the inexplicable attraction Ariana feels towards the pining Jeremiah, in addition to a series of strange, dreamlike visits to see him in heaven. In spite of the happiness and fulfillment she feels with her position in hell and her relationship with Lucifer, this contradictory dichotomy of attraction slowly wears on Ariana's well-being until, after much confusion and fisticuffs between denizens of heaven and hell, all is at long last revealed in a way that even I would have never guessed in a million years, and with a coda that is as much hilarious as it is shocking and yet matches perfectly with the tone of the story. And even in a spiritual way, no pun intended, with the ending of the prior book. I'm happy to say that Eiling has stepped up her editing game here, by the way, and I don't think I ran into any grammatical issues. In fact, if it can be called a complaint at all, I think that the only criticism of the book that I can think of is that the tale makes reference enough to events in Death's Widow that it is highly recommended that the prior book be read first, if only to familiarize yourself with the entire world. And, well, that's about it on my end. Dark, violent, disturbing, sexy, emotionally gripping, and even a bit funny. Darkest Deeds is a wonderful continuation of the timeless universe. Now that I think about it, it improves upon all that Eiling has built into Death's Widow. Despite my usual distaste for the old ultra-violence, it was this improvement that I believe held my interest and my emotional investment in Ariana's tale that kept me reading it through to the very end. I must reiterate, however, that this is not a tale for the squeamish or tender-hearted, but if you want a fascinating tale with lots of bite, and especially if you loved the prior book in the series, and you want to see more Lucifer, then any potential reader should hurry up and make this your next purchase. So, in my humble opinion, I gave this a 10 out of 10. This was perfect. Eiling stepped everything up in every possible way. Highly recommended, ladies and gentlemen. And so that wraps up my book review of the day. And if you liked it, please check out the links in the doobly-doo and follow me on Twitter and DeviantArt. Come down to my WordPress page for the growing list of reviews. I post new reviews every week, so be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. Talk about it on YouTube, by the way. Leave questions or comments down below if you feel so inclined, and let me know what you think, or if any of my shameless plugs or reviews have piqued your interest. And support us by purchasing our work through the provided links and spread the love. And so until next time, this is Dak Crash, better known as Brandon, saying stay lucky, stay blessed, and happy